Hello, good afternoon, viewers. It is the Business X-Ray Show today, this Sunday, and we're again back to share with you tips and pointers on how you can make it in business. Of course, we've made it, our duty here to bring business people, entrepreneurs from as diverse a background as possible. Of course, last week we had a gentleman all the way from Amoria, and this time round we have someone who has invested in the space of health. Of course, we're talking about social services here, and as you know, ever since we made that transition and privatized a number of aspects and operations in this country, of course, some of these social service or social sectors have actually attracted investments from the private sector. And today we have an investor who has actually made it into the space of health, and she's going to be sharing with us how she has managed to sit in that particular area. So as usual, we have a resident coach from Enterprise Uganda. This show is sponsored by Enterprise Uganda together with Minister of Finance. And the idea, like I mentioned, or like we normally mention, is to make this as practical as possible, as closer to day-to-day living and life as possible. And that's why we keep bringing entrepreneurs, the people that are actually in the thick and thin of things called business. Ronald, I think this is the time to greet the viewers. Ronald is from Enterprise Uganda.
Thank you so much, Charles, for this opportunity. I want to thank all those who have joined us today as we continue to discuss business, especially at a time like this, when many people are considering to start, many people are considering to close. It's a challenging time, but it's always a big opportunity when we come and kind of debate these issues. Possibly you learn something new, you reinforce something which you already know. So on behalf of Enterprise Uganda, it's always an honor for us, and we want to thank the ministry for the sponsorship so that we can be able to continue this conversation and grow our businesses as Ugandans.
Thank you, Ronald. Now, our guest in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen, is Maureen. I'll give Maureen time to introduce herself. She's the proprietor of Good Life, a health facility. We're going to hear more about her journey in that space. And we have a montage, a video montage of her, actually. So we'll take you there, where she's doing her operations. And we'll pick quite some tips on how she has been able to make it as a businesswoman, but this time around offering a social service, particularly health. Maureen, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm called Musmeta Maureen. I'm an entrepreneur. I do medical business. We are located in Nigeria too. Those of you who are from Nigeria, Chiwatuli, Kungubuwate, just next to Tosha petrol station, actually in between Lavent Bar petrol station and Tosha petrol station. I'm humbled to be here, courtesy of Enterprise Uganda and Ministry of Finance. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Maureen, and we are glad to have you. Actually, we are more happy to have you because, like we said at the beginning, Ugandans seem known to be warming up to just people speaking without showing them what they are doing. And now the fact that you're here and you're going to show us what you're actually doing, I mean, it's really a blessing that we have you. There are many people that are going to pick lessons from your experience. So at this moment, I'll request my producer to play for us a montage of Maureen's business, for that matter, so that we get a feel of the entrepreneur we have in the house today.
I'm called Musmeta Maureen from Good Life Health Center. I'm the proprietor. Good Life has been in existence for over 12 years. We started small with a simple lab, with a simple building down there. Before we shifted to here, we were in a small setting. Because we started with one doctor, with a daycare. We didn't have admissions, there was no night duty. So we started with outpatient, basically. We've managed to grow big and build our Good Life brand by me not being a medical person. I'm totally non-medical, because I did purely arts at the university, but of course I'm an entrepreneur and a business lady. So what I did, I do partnership. I do partnership with a doctor. So he handles the medical part of it, and I do the administration part of it, the human resource, and these other duties. So that's how we've managed to build the brand with not being medical, and we've also focused on quality services which are affordable. The clients, they're served, like even if you don't have enough money, sometimes we have family pages, we give dates, we have experienced staff. They work in shifts because those offs are also necessary. The ones who work for the night duty, and we've managed to achieve a brand by the courage of saving. That saving has helped us to be able to invest in our business, pay the workers in time, and meet other utility bills. When we put in the new technology, because we have a system, it tracks the books. We used to have a lot of paperwork, patients' files would get lost. Someone who came in Ayaba couldn't be able to access the information, but now you can track the dates, you can track the patients that were worked on earlier, or you can even be able to, it is easier for the patients, because when they come in, the system is very clear. You go for triage, from the triage you go to the doctor, then you go to the lab. Also the new technology for the system has also helped us in bookkeeping, because you're able to know the money you've made, and how the business is transforming. What sets me apart from other medical centers or clinics is that at Good Life there is customer care, right from the askari. Even the nurses just know that the bills are affordable to everyone. Even a local person who has a stall of tomatoes can afford to come to Good Life. That's one thing that sets us apart. We also have a debt system. We have family files, we have our local insurance here at Good Life. You just come, you deposit money, in that even when you don't have money and your family falls sick, you can be able to access medical services. Then the staff, we have experienced staff. At Good Life, we don't employ anyone, any nurse or doctor below 3 years. So they are really experts who can handle all those problems with the clients. We've had a lot of achievements since we started, because as I told you, we started small with one bed, the outpatient. There was no night duty. Now we also have inpatients. We started with one doctor. Now we have 3 who can work during the day and at night. Then the nurses. Another achievement, we didn't have a dental department. Now we have a fully equipped dental department with a full-time dentist. She's always there from Monday to Saturday, and on Sunday she's always on call. And then our lab has been equipped, because I remember when we started, we were using strips in the lab, then we put a microscope, then from the microscope we grew. Now we have CBC, we can do chemistry. And the lab has also been improved. We never used to deliver. We have a maternity now. And we shifted from our other old premises to our new premises, we've gotten enough space. We now have admission rooms for the male and the females. The other time we used to have one room for the day care, like where the other one goes. Actually, we had no admissions because we just had one room for resting. Actually, it was a resting room. We have some feature ranges. The first one being most of the clients, Nigeria being a corporate area, most of the clients have insurance. They come in with their cards, and we just deal with the local community. Yet we have all the equipment, the doctors are there, but they can't access the service. Also, another challenge we have is taxes. The taxes are so high and so many. Like now in the medical field, you find you're registering the general clinic, you have to renew, you have to go to the lab, you pay taxes, you go to the town council, you pay taxes, you go to URA, you pay taxes. The increase in prices of drugs, the drugs have increased, yet the clients don't have money. Some come in, now they have to take debts because they've been coming for some good time. The prices,
Hello, welcome back, viewers. And that is the story of Maureen today. I don't have to add anything there. I think it speaks for itself. You now have a feel of what she's doing and where she sits today. Now, Ronald, I don't know what your quick thoughts are before we can actually come back to Maureen.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. I think, first of all, Maureen, thanks for soldiering. The health sector is a complex one. It's a heavily regulated sector. It's a sector which deals with life.
Yeah.
And it is a sector where quality can't be compromised because you're dealing with people's lives. So I think, as we saw when Maureen was sharing, it's very important to ensure that you are continuously improving the facility to be able to meet the services. But it being a business, it also is very important that it is an affordable price. And I think that's where the complexity is. Some of the equipments which you have seen are pretty expensive equipments. Where do you get the financing to put them there? And if you get the financing, how do you make sure you recoup the profit so that you can be able to pay even for those facilities? So I think it is a very interesting industry in that regard, that you have a set of regulations which you have to follow, but you have to make sure that you kind of win. And then definitely Maureen not being a medical professional, it's also an interesting...
Actually, in fact, that's the thing where I wanted us to also pay a bit of attention, because I like the fact that, you know, she knew where her gaps are and said, I'm going to need this partnership.
Exactly.
I really want you to speak to that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Maureen is not a medical profession, but she knows that the work which the business she's doing has to be run by professionals. And that means you have to bring in, she emphasized a bit about experience, that the people who are brought on board are experienced, and I think we'll talk about that a bit more in the show. She also emphasized making sure that they're right people. But also there are real business things they have to do, like customer service, because this person is a customer. They may be sick, they may be in pain, but they're actually your customer. So how you treat them, how you speak to them is important, and making sure you embed that into your team. But I think there's also something interesting, even though you're entering a sector where you honestly are not the professional, that doesn't mean you shouldn't understand the sector. I don't know whether you noticed when Maureen was speaking, she talked about the equipments which have come. She talked about the way the lab has changed from one form to another. That is a sign that she's understanding the business which someone is. So someone who is listening to us, if you're out there and you're saying, I want to enter this sector which I don't fully understand, then you should actually appreciate that you are starting a long learning journey, which may not stop for the next 20 years, but you continuously need to understand the business which you're entering. Because for us, your customers, we don't really care who started the health facility. We want it to be a professional service. So it is incumbent on you as the entrepreneur to ensure that you have a good understanding of the business which you're running. And that understanding is, as I said, is not something which stops. It's a continuous process, but it has to exist. It means that if someone comes and tells you we need this drug, you need to know what drug it is, you need to know how much it is, you need to know what it does, you need to know which alternatives are to that drug. That is something which you have to do as an entrepreneur. So there are no two ways about it. Any person who is establishing a business it is incumbent on you as the entrepreneur to have a very deep understanding of that business, but more importantly, to make sure that you are continuously updating. That Maureen talked about the technologies which are coming up and the new things. That is her role as the entrepreneur, to ensure that she's understanding which new facilities are coming up, which new machines are coming up. How can we be able to deliver better service to the customer?
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, before I bring in Maureen again, Ronald, I like the fact that, again, understanding the products she's offering, that health, like insurance product, I think it's more of sits within the health management organization kind of product. I know how tough, for instance, insurance companies struggle with a product called health. So I give it to her that actually she's able to offer a health insurance
localized,
yes, localized. You know, I mean, that's quite something. It shows appreciation and understanding of the brand and trying to innovate along, you know, the brand the business she's sitting into.
Yeah, and no, I totally agree. And I think when you talk about insurance as a sector, the penetration is still very low. And there is a lot of room for improvement. There are countries where it is news if 10% of the population is uninsured. For here it is not even used. The majority of people are not in that space.
It's normal.
So the point is that what is important is to ask yourself, how can I be able to meet a need of the customer? So there is a trader who is in Nigeria 2 market. They're trading onions, they have 3 children, they get sick. So if you can be able to create a product where the trader can say, I'll deposit 2,000 every time I pass your shop at least once a day, and when I get sick, you can hit it off my account, and then you can access some credit, then that is a starting point. Now there is certainly a lot of room for improvement with co-creation between facilities like Maureen's with insurance companies to co-create products which can be, and as you have rightly put it, the insurance industry is still struggling to penetrate that big group which falls in the what you'd call the common man, that the penetration is not as much. But these are opportunities because the local facility is within the vicinity of the people who you want to give this service. They have a good understanding, possibly they have a trust relationship with Maureen and her partners. They say we trust good life. Now the point is that how can we co-create products which could even embed technology that I send mobile money of 2K every day, and that can be my insurance product or a certain amount every month. Those are things which I think we need to kind of build on more, and it's a big opportunity that people in the insurance industry are struggling to penetrate, but there are people who possibly have a couple of answers but also don't have that scale and the financial muscle to be able to scale that. So there are opportunities there which I think can be able to be harnessed to give services to the common man.
Very good. Maureen, this is the time when we come to you. So it's been running in my mind. I keep asking myself, you know, seeing that montage and what we've seen so far, how did you come up with the idea? I mean, just paint for us a picture, the start, where you said, you know what, I'm not going to sell clothes, I'm not going to sell tomatoes, I'm not going to sell hardware, I'm going to go into health. Yes.
Hi everyone. I entered the medical business. At the university, as I told you, I did arts, so I had spent like 3 years ago. I was in the streets looking for jobs. So when I attended this Enterprise Uganda, this program for the whole week, then when I came out, I was like, now what do I do? So by then, my husband had a clinic. I was like, I have to go to the clinic and see what to do there. So I started at the reception, started welcoming people, and became a receptionist actually. Then from there, I started billing. I had to run to come. I was employed actually, and I started also being paid as a receptionist. And then I had to learn the drugs, how to calculate. So because I had started the billing, so when patients come, I would bill, I receive the money, I receipt, I balance in the evening. So I was employed like that. So unfortunately, down the road, 5 years, my husband was a medic. He's the one who was running it as a doctor, and then he passed on. So I was like, now what do I do? So people are like, you know how they feel so sorry for you, we're going to give you jobs. So someone, I remember one of my uncles got me in Compassion, where I was fitting with my social services. So when I reached there, the money they were giving me was not even paying for my boys, my first boys. We had 2 kids, so the money was not paying for even the first baby. So I was like, let me first try this. So I tried it. It was really a challenge. Yes, I was like, I'm going to be doing what I've been doing, because like I was managing the administration part of it. Like for him, I was managing the medical part of it. So friends came in. His friends came in, they're also medics. They would interview staff, they put doctors and they put nurses. Now management would be so hard. Doctor would come in, possibly there are no sterilized things, no one to register the clinic. You know, medical field is so sensitive, so sensitive. They would come in for their shifts and just go. You go there, you don't even understand some of the things. So there's this one doctor who came in, Dr. Lonnie, we love you so much. He's one of the brains behind Good Life Clinic. So when he came in, by then he was doing his master's at Mulago. I was like, no, I remember in Enterprise Uganda they told us we can do partnership. So why don't I try it? I really need it. You know, partnership, some people are like, what, the conflicts, but when you follow what you're supposed to you do the partnership, you give yourself responsibilities, you move. So I was like, can we talk? Then we decided, and then I was like, I'm willing to give you 50% of Good Life. So we made the agreement, we did the partnership, and so he, as I've told you, he started taking over the medical part, the registration, he supervises the nurses. You know, everyone in the medical field outside there, you know that possibly you need an in charge, someone who is taking you, or the head nurse. So he looks over, because now, like, you can be there and be like, I'm going to employ doctors and nurses, but you can't interview them. You don't know who is good. You don't know, they'll even do things you don't even, but when Dr. Ren is there, because when he finished his master's, he got a government job, but he's always there. Weekends, so he comes, he supervises. Even when he's away, we have a system. He's able to see this, ask this. What was this done? This patient, can we improve this? There is a new drug on the market. Those machines you've seen. He goes, negotiates. Because me, at times, maybe I don't know him. He negotiates and he goes like to the maternity. We need to do this. There's this drug. It's not working properly these days. So they work together as the other team. He employs. He like in case like we need. Nurse, he does the interview and we choose the best. So
the technical aspects
yes.
to do with health are on his obligation.
Yes, and I totally don't. Actually, I don't even give Panada at Good Life. Everyone knows.
But hold it there, Maureen. We'll come back to you.
Yes, I can calculate that because I do the billing at the reception. But I don't touch there.
That's not your space.
Yes.
No, this is where I want to bring you in, Ronnie, because quite very important before we lose, you know, at that point. 2 things I see here. One is that when that time came, when Maureen's husband passed, she didn't feel sorry for herself. She was like, I need to move on with this.
True.
I mean, there are many people who, you know, lose critical partners in a business sense, and the business ends there.
Yeah.
Now, that is quite something. Then 2, the sacrifice she made and said, you know what, let me cede 50% of this business to someone who's technical. You know, talk about a story of owning a whole rabbit or just having a leg of an elephant. So that also, I believe there's something that it communicates to us, especially in the Ugandan context.
Yeah. No, I think that is that is totally true, and I think when you talk about the first challenge, many businesses are person to holder.
Yeah.
You are running a business and you are the business. So in your absence, we don't know whether the business exists, and I think Maureen's story kind of highlights that. You see, she said that she spent 3 years on the street, and in these 3 years she's also married to her husband. But she said, do you have anything you're doing? He says, no, I have nothing I'm doing. I'm looking for what? For a job.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's important to notice that sometimes the job you are looking for, you may already have. There are so many family businesses which are demanding for you to come back and participate actively.
Yes.
But also when you come back, you have to show humility when you come back, because remember that they put her at the reception. Now she could have come and said, but I'm your wife, I think I'm very important, I should be given management. But the point is that she started out at the reception. And sometimes your entrepreneurial journey is not going to start with your idea. It may start with supporting the idea of your spouse, supporting the idea of your father. Some of us are born into business families, and your entrepreneurship may be needed in your family business, and you need to get in there and be an active member and a productive member. And before the passing of Maureen's husband, we see that there was a window there where she actively participated in her spouse's business, and that participation is no less entrepreneurship as you starting out your own business. And I think it's a very important message, because it's a low-hanging fruit. So sometimes the place where you are going to practice your business might be within a business which already exists in your family. There are many families where the husband is running a business, but the wife doesn't even know what is happening. And that could be a factor that the husband doesn't let her come. But it could be a factor that you also don't want to go.
Pick interest.
So the point is that we need to appreciate that there is need for us to say which process has already started that I can be able to join and participate in. Because that joining, I imagine when she started receipting, you see that her critical role now, her 50% we speak of, is actually born in those 3 years when she's when she's receiving guests. That is the value add she brought to the business. Now her husband might have been an excellent doctor, but he didn't want to do the receipts or the balancing at the end of the day. But the point is that those are two critical roles which are critical for the success of the business. And then comes the shock. And when we think about shock, many businesses struggle from shock. We have seen the passing of the patriarch of the family, and they can be a bit of disarray. And I think her initial response is actually the natural response. You run. You say, what do we have in this small business? What can we sell and pay school fees for children and parent? And we close this thing. And we have seen many businesses, especially family businesses, when that patriarch passes on, the natural response is for people to say, how do we liquidate this thing and destroy it? Not how do we keep it going and even grow it bigger. Now we are grateful that Maureen's choice was to say, how do we keep this thing?
And I think it goes back to the point you raised, that sometimes people don't pick interest in the business, especially when the person running is around.
Exactly.
And then definitely when they go, and you feel you want to start then, it becomes a bit of a
you walk in, you notice this thing has been feeding us, but we don't know how. How does it make money? So that process is important, that understanding. And I think, as you rightly put it, it is much better when shock comes, when there is engagement of the children, engagement of the family members. When shock comes, we see that it allows us to be able to say people can ease into the business. So shock can come in many ways. It could be a passing of a spouse. Sometimes shock is divorce. Divorce can also cause a shock in the business. Sometimes it is a terminal illness of your spouse. Sometimes it is circumstances which allow you not to be, someone says, I've decided to relocate to another place. And all those are, the cause of the shock may be different. But the issue is how we respond to that shock. The thing is that even amid this shock, we see that responsibilities remain. You have a family to feed, you have children to look after. And that responsibility, for me, is usually what is closest to you. You look around and say, you know what? We have had a father in this home, and he has been looking after these children. We need to continue looking after them. And the business could be an avenue to be able to do that. And it's very important that we kind of say, how can we be able to take in this shock, but to be able to progress? And you see that there are a number of strategic decisions which Maureen had to make. One of them you have clearly mentioned, to seed 50% of the business. And 50% of the business had to be seeded. Why? so that the business can continue. Maureen has told us that she can't even offer Panadol. So if I enter a clinic where the person who I see can't even give Panadol, then we have a problem. So the point is that
we had clients. The clients were there. We had built our good life when you were still there. So I had my clients, but I didn't have the...
Exactly. Clients keep coming. They say,
and you know, at the end of it all, people want service. If they come at good life, the baby is sick, the baby gets fine. At the end of it all, they will not ask who is the owner, or is she medical.
Their interest is good service. I hear you.
Yeah, and here good service means that you have to have a medical professional who can diagnose that baby and give the right medication. So that was a strategic decision. But it's a tough strategic decision.
Tough, giving away your 50.
Yes, because people releasing even 10% and saying, take my thing.
They say it's Money Uganda.
It's Money Uganda. But the point is that, the point is you can keep the whole thing and lose it. You can keep the whole thing and lose it.
All. Actually, there's a time I almost lost it because doctors we had that challenge of changing doctors. They come, if someone works for 3 months, patients have just gotten used, the person goes. But when the doctor knows he has his part-time business apart from his government job, I'm telling you, he's always
this
there.
Is his. He's a part owner. Exactly. And I think it's critical to notice that sometimes the incentives you give an employee are very different from the incentives you give a business owner. When I come into your business and I am a professional doctor, the reason why I will put in a bit more sweat equity is largely because I am a what? An owner. And I think that is the bit which Maureen has explained to us and which she seemed to understand well. That I know that this thing is mine. But I know that for this thing to succeed, I need to bring in someone who can lead my technical, so that I know that there is a face of a doctor, there is all the things. I mean, when they bring you documents from National Drug Authority or their documents, you will look at them and you won't know what they are saying. But you need another partner whose job it is to say that actually this is what they're asking, or they shouldn't be asking us this. And if that is not happening, then we have a problem. Now, I thought there was something which I hope the viewers picked, that we wrote down. We sat and discussed, meaning that that discussion first of all includes, who are you, who am I? So Maureen says, I own Good Life Clinic. Ronnie says, I am a medical doctor. You bring medical, I have the clinic. So I'm going to release 50%. Why? First of all, you're going to lead the health bit of it. You're going to lead technical. So all those things are written down in an agreement. Now that's another thing which we don't do very well. You find that people said we agreed but we talked about it. Write down in a partnership agreement. A partnership agreement which says what are your responsibilities, what are mine. If we make money, how do we share it? And when do we share it? Because you can get a partner who shares money every day. Says, how much did you make today? You cut for me my piece and we what? And I go. But you will say that but the business can't grow in such an environment where all the profits we make daily, we are cutting off. So you need to ask yourself, how are we going to share these profits? And make sure it is written. And after it is written, make sure you are executing it. It means living by it. Because you are business partners. And business partners means that you need to live by those principles which you have put in that agreement. And challenges will come.
Thank you, Ronnie. Hold it there. Maureen, I want to come back to you. And I've been triggered by Ronald's submission. You know, just the experience, your experience at the beginning. You know, you're now in charge of this hospital. I know you touched a little about that. How was it like, you know, you, a person, first of all, who didn't have that health background, now fully in charge of that business? Because I can see at that stage you're making all these decisions. I need a technical partner, but there's this day-to-day running. You have a clientele base which is loyal, that you had served, you know, quite, I imagine, with dedication previously, and they're there. How was that experience? Because we tend to lose it at that point.
As I had told you, I had my clients. We had our clients before he died. So here I was alone. just employing doctors who just come in for their shifts and they go. I can manage the accounts, I can do the bookkeeping, I can do the customer care, welcome clients so well. But at the end of it all, if they are not worked on well and they get fined, people need service. They don't know, they don't want to know you are a widow. People don't want to know excuse me. People don't want to know you're a woman. Like you know the excuses we usually give. For them, they want service. So mine was like, since I've gotten this doctor, he's doing this. So me, I'm going to be on the reception. Actually, me at Good Life, people don't know me as the proprietor and the receptionist. This lady at the reception, people come. Because now, when I sit at the reception, just know when babies calculated, but they'll come and tell Madam, because I'm the oldest figure, they always know. Actually, some of them call me Musa. I was like, yeah, doctor, yes. Some think of I am, but yet me, I know what I'm doing and what I want. Yes. So they come tell me, the other Musa didn't treat me well. There's one home we chased because she told the baby vomited, and the nurse told them, you clean, you know, they will always come, like the prices are high, all reported to you. So I always see those gaps, even when, because the doctor sometimes tends to be busy in his government setting, and he comes during that, doctor, this nurse, what do we do? Doctor, people are complaining, the prices are so high, doctor, this, what do we do? So we sit down, and he says, you know, we need to change this Musa, we need to put in these drugs, or people need such and such a service. Like I have told you, at first, we just had the daycare. So he comes in and says, no, we need to start admitting. Then he goes, buys the beds, makes a list. May I go withdraw the money, we sign, because we have a joint account. We go, we buy, then he says, we need this and this and this. It's a good quality, we need this. So we sit together, and as he brings in his medicine, also bring in the business part of it. The business part of it. Then we agree, and at the end of it all, you find everything is flowing. And you have your ear on the ground to know what is needed. So when it's not that, I manage the finances, I make sure there is a doctor on duty. Before I leave the night, doctor is already there, because he has left, like he has interviewed, this is the doctor fit for that night duty. So me, my responsibility, I make sure before I go home, there's a doctor on the night duty, there's a nurse, there's a lab person, people are in uniform, the place is clean, the clients are welcomed well, people come to Life know very well that it's a second home, like when their kids are sick. So actually people don't, I'm a worker like any other worker. Any other worker in the business. Yeah, and also we came up with a system, because I'm paid, because leaving me there, like now I'm there for my kids, you have to run your utilities, you have to pay your fuel, the kids are going back to school. So in fact, we came up with that agreement that everyone is going to get a salary. Okay. So I'm paid, and the doctor is paid. With other workers, at the end of the month, then these other dates, of course you need this and this, so I get money for my fuel, lunch, and all that. Whenever I'm on duty, and even him, whenever he's on duty, he gets those. That's what we agreed. So everything flows. The way it's supposed to be. Yeah. Ronald, I'll come back to you before I bring Maureen back again. And I think it's quite important, because rewarding yourself. How would you reward yourself? The reward system in businesses is always very tricky when it comes to proprietors. And of course, there are several other aspects that she's talked about. You know, the fact of being there. You know, I don't know what more you can add to that.
No, I think there are powerful messages which Maureen is sharing with us. I mean, we could start with where she sits at the reception. Now, I think the point is that if you are running any business, you would think you would be the last person to sit at the reception. I mean, you would imagine that if you own the business, you should have an office. And I think it's a mindset. All of us say, this is my business, so I've gone to the CEO or manager's office. Really, finding yourself at the reception really is a very interesting place for you, the appropriator, to choose to stay. Because you feel like people need to know. She says people don't know. But many entrepreneurs, you want the people to know that, you know, this thing is mine. I am the one who is running it. So that's a very powerful message. And in there is stated one key lesson. One of them is the humility to do the simplest of work in your business. As a business owner, you need to know everything about your business. I had an opportunity to read the rich piece of work which was written by Haji BMK before his passing, his life story. And in his book he says he knew how to drive all those heavy lifting equipment. You know, he has heavy lifting equipment. It was part of his part of the BMK big business. And the point is that the fact that he can sit in the machine and drive it is a very powerful message. And I think that what Maureen is saying is critical for every entrepreneur. You need to be able to do all the work in your business. Some of it you are not capable of doing, like being a doctor, but the one which you are capable of doing, at least be able to do it. But secondly, which is important, is the critical role of the reception. The fact that it is right at the center, where everyone who is having a bit of gossip about the business is actually going to share. Says, can you believe me? They told me they were going to treat me in 5 minutes, but they have taken 30. That's feedback to you. Someone says, but the price is too high. Two mothers are seated there on the chair and they are talking to each other. Say, here, me, there is another clinic down the road which is better, but I'm here because the other one is closed. All that is information which you pick right there at the reception. So the reception becomes a critical role. So you as a business owner, you need to ask yourself, which critical piece
what can I improve? Where
how can I improve my business?
The first-hand feedback.
Exactly. And you can make decisions about it because you run the business. As she has rightly mentioned, her partner is not there for the whole week. But for her, she can be able to pick all these information points.
Then when he comes, you sit and discuss. He handles the medical, and then you also handle it, and then you see how to push.
You say, we need to change this because our business. And every business owner needs to know, if you are not getting that feedback and making the changes the customers want, the customers will leave.
And I wanted to underline the services industry.
Exactly.
Because that's where most of our problems are in this country.
Yes.
Because we tend to do well in merchandising and these other aspects. But when it comes to offering services, it's very tricky. And now I'm getting to understand the importance of a reception.
Exactly. It's right there in the middle. And it's such an important, piece. Looks like the simplest role.
Yes.
But it's an important piece. Then on the bit about the salaries, you need to understand that when you work in your business, you are two people. You are a business owner who is supposed to be rewarded with dividends from the profit. But you are also an employee who is supposed to be rewarded with a salary. Now, in accounting, the salary comes before you compute profit. It is one of the business expenses. It means that you have to pay salaries whether the business is making money or it is not. Now, if the business doesn't make profit, the business owner should not be rewarded. Now, the problem is that many business owners mix up the two. They keep changing personalities. So today you are the business owner, then you are the employee. Now, it is very important to notice both personalities are important. She has rightly mentioned they are partners in their business. So it means they should both share in the profit. But she puts in a full week's work. If she puts in a full week's work, that means she has been an employee for a week. And her partner needs to appreciate that I'll be paid for the 2 days when I come as an employee, as a doctor who is seated in the clinic. But I can't be rewarded for the week I'm not there as an employee. I'll be rewarded as a business owner from the profit, but I won't be rewarded as an employee. And that's why it's important to say, I have set out clearly what salary will I be paid. After being understanding which salary you should be paid, then you should ask yourself, what other costs am I incurring? You might have overtime, for example, that I am going to work until 9 on some days because I am waiting for the next doctor who is taking on the next shift. Now, if I'm working up to 9, you say I'll be given 10,000 shillings for my overtime. And that is a reward which is documented and agreed. So when we see that expense going through, we are agreeable to that expense. Now, what happens is that many entrepreneurs, they come and pick the money. They say, now I've taken it. They say, well, you're taking it for what? Say, but I'm the business owner. But say, but business owner, you have to wait for profit. Have we made profit? We say, I'm not sure, but I'm taking it. So you can't just take the money.
Yeah.
You need to take the money for specific reasons. Are you taking it as an employee? Are you taking it as a business owner? Then follow your own rules. It is critical to put rules in place and to follow them. A business is like you have a constitution you are supposed to follow. The same is true with the business. You have to say, I've put in place these rules and I should follow them. And the employees need to see that the rules are the same. If they see her picking money from the till, she has a cashier, for example. The cashier receives the money. The cashier puts the money in the till. Then she comes for her without a voucher, without anything, says, you give me 30,000. The cashier says, for what? Says, but I'm the business owner. Then you are missing it. You need to make sure the rules are clear. If the rules are all of us get 10,000 for overtime, if you are an employee, you get 10,000, I get 10,000. If the rules are that these are our salaries, this is our wage bill, the wage bill is paid at the end of the month and everyone's wage goes out. That cashier who takes that wage bill to the bank to deposit it, sees the name of the two proprietors, sees the names of all other employees, and they have been paid this money, they will say that, you know what, this system is fair. But if they take the list there and people don't know how much they are supposed to be paid, or for you, you can take all the money before people are paid. So yesterday you took 3 million out, and then today you say we have no wages. The cashier will say this thing is not balanced. So you have to put in place rules, and you need to make sure those rules are being followed.
Very good, very good. Now, Maureen, I'll come back to you. So in terms of, you know, on this journey that you've moved so far, I don't know, how many years have you been running this?
Like, the partnership thing.
Yes, yes.
7 years.
7 years. So what do you count as some of your achievements at the moment?
At the moment, we've had the maternity department, we've had the dental. We didn't have dental. We've had the lab improved from up to from, like I was telling you, from just using the microscope to doing chemistry, CBC, and we used to have one lab person, but now they work in shifts, because I saw it very important for the staff. They need to rest.
I hear you.
That's one way we've kept, because now making someone work throughout, it's really so stressing. So we've also put the scan I mentioned it.
Not yet.
The scan, and then our premises were too small, our rooms were too small, but now we have enough space. That's when we brought in the dent, because we didn't even have where to put it. There was enough parking space.
So you had to invest in a new structure?
In a new structure.
Oh, okay.
So to have all those services added, possibly if someone finishes delivery, they'll need a resting room. We have now admission rooms for the male, for the female, well-equipped procedure room, like, I don't know whether they showed them there. And then we didn't have services like immunization, because we didn't have space. Now we do charity for the government. We do immunization, sometimes family planning. We go around to those guys who need the services, and we do it for free. Just charity. That's the social entrepreneurship aspect now coming alive. Yes, and you know, when you do it, they'll be happy. They'll come for these other services. So sometimes we do family planning, we do dental, and dental checkups and extractions. We stop that. We don't do this other. And then sometimes we include HIV testing. So we go around, invite these people. They come. We get a day. We get, like, in a year we can do two outreaches. They come. The whole day. They access those services for free.
I hear you.
And then these other days, still the price is affordable. It's very affordable for those social services like family planning, HIV testing. And then what else did we add? We added, before, we used to have problems with accounts. We used to have problems with patient files, bookkeeping. So we invested in technology. We have a system.
You have a system now.
The main stream system. It's quite amazing because people enter, triage, they go to the doctor sends to the lab, from the lab back to the doctor. No paperwork, no stress. You'll find my whole table piled with files.
Like a professor's table.
How you ask me what I earn, I don't know. Sometimes I just come to the door, I just pick, I go. Someone comes, how about your money? Have a date. Like 6 months. How much? I was asked, how much? You pay. That's all the patient, you pay. Because like you can't even remember. But now it tracks, like even when you bring in the drugs, you're able to feed them in. I know I have these drugs on stock. I need, these ones are out of stock. These ones are expiring. Even a patient who comes after 3 years is able to access a medical form at Good Life because everything is systemized. And the waiting, people used to wait, people are writing, first write their names, their word, those ones are no longer there at Good Life. People just come in, actually now they are getting used to the system. And then we brought in technology. We used to have security purpose, security problems. We had to put in cameras everywhere. There was a camera. And then paper, like getting paper money, we now have mobile money, Airtel, we have Momo. So people pay actually on Airtel, they can pay and then you just post it directly to the bank.
I hear you.
No, like, you know, like you'd be there having your cup of tea somewhere, they're calling, madam, someone has sent 30,000 on you first check, and then we approve, and then the patient, by that time you're wasting time. Nowadays they just, or someone could put it on their phone. Getting it would be
a problem.
So now we have clinic money. Actually, me also, I don't handle it. So that one has also been improved. Then we have a Visa cards. Like people can use their cards. There are no excuses. The money, the bill has, I didn't expect, I just bought 50, the bill is 100. No, use your Visa card.
Beautiful. I can see you've fully embraced the digital spaces.
So they can use the Visa card and access. We have the Visa card, we have mobile, we have empty. No. You know, someone can tell you, let me go and withdraw at the shop. They don't come back. You get it?
You go with the baby.
They don't come back.
Maureen, we'll hold it there. We're going to take a very short commercial break, viewers. And when we come back, I really want to hear you talk to really your relationship with your workers. Because in the service business, actually, you can be as good as, you know, the motivation or the level of motivation of your employees, because they're the guys who offer that service. But we'll pick that thought from Maureen after this very short commercial break. We'll also be picking your thoughts for any comments, questions, and suggestions. After this very short commercial break, we're going to beam that WhatsApp number so that you can send them through. Dear viewers, welcome back. It's again the Business X-Ray Show, and today we're looking at provision, how to make it in, you know, provision of social services and specifically health services. And today in the studio we have Maureen Monsmenta from Good Life, a health facility, and she's sharing her story as a businesswoman, one without a health background, but how she has managed to really ride, you know, that challenge and still make it. And sit on the table of health service providers in this country. So, Maureen, of course, you're offering a service, and we know any facility or business that offers a service, like I said before we went for the break, is as good as, you know, the quality, the motivation of its workers. How do you manage to get the best out of your workers, you know, to uphold the brand in the spaces where it sits today?
I've managed to do that. As I told you earlier, when I saw one of the doctors was really skilled and good, I did partnership. Because that one is part of Good Life. I don't have to tell him to come to Good Life.
He's locked in.
So the rest of the staff, when he does the interviews and they're employed, he really talks to them what we need, and everyone who after like sometimes we increase their salary if you do so well, like we expect you to do. You've increased their salaries. Then we also give them, like in case someone does a procedure, like this midway, sometimes you deliver a baby, like you get your 10%. We also motivate them like that, and we pay the staff early, and we pay them very well to maintain them. If we see like they are really good staff, we pay in time. At the end of them, actually, sometimes 28 people at Good Life have already gotten their salaries, or fast. They don't go beyond that. And also the staff at Good Life, they are given offs. They work in shifts. No one like works over 12 hours. There's another doctor coming in. So they get, like, weekends, they are free. If this one is free during the weekend, maybe one comes in, so they get enough resting time. Then we also maintain them by, in most cases when you do that, you can maintain. That's how we've done it at Good Life.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Ronald, just to pick your mind, but before viewers, again, we're going to have that WhatsApp number on screen so that you can send in your questions, comments, and suggestions. I know there are a number of people who are probably running health centers or nursing ambitions. It's a tough economic season, and almost every day I get people, you know, trying to nurse ambitions of going into business. What business can I do? Others want to go into services, and I believe some of the questions we're going to get are really directed at that. But your quick thoughts about Maureen's submission?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of thoughts, and possibly even from the earlier section. The first one is on the power of organic growth.
Yeah.
When we asked Maureen the successes she has made, you have seen that it is organic. I started small with only day services, then I introduced night, then I introduced a maternity ward, then I introduced a dental section, then I expanded my lab. That process is a process which is synonymous with many businesses. Most businesses will all have really an organic journey, and that sometimes we don't want to walk that journey, but it's the journey of learning by growing. By that customer explains to you, but you people, I came at 6 and you had closed. Then you say, okay, let's try to push it to 10. Then at 10 you say, but I came at 11 and you had closed. Let's push it to midnight. Why don't we do the whole night? That is the process, the journey which many businesses go in. There are some which can be able to be overnight successes, but those are few and they're real outliers. So it's important as business people to appreciate the power of organic growth. But we have to notice that organic growth is very boring. It is, sometimes you feel like you are nurturing something small which is not growing fast enough. It's like bringing up a child and after 3 years you say, you fellow, you are not talking. We need you to talk quickly. So sometimes we do that to our businesses. We force feed them, and credit is another thing. You force feed them with credit so that they kind of grow big fast. And sometimes that can shock the business. So it's very important to appreciate organic growth. The other bit is technology. And the enabling role technology has in business today. I think Maureen mentioned a couple of places she's using technology. In security, the cameras around her business, that's technology. And it's something which can say that if Maureen steps out of here, even during the break, she can say, but sends a WhatsApp to one of our colleagues, I don't see you at the reception desk. Why? Those are things, and technology is enabling business. Security, we talked about the health system, the doctors using a medical management system, the mobile money, and being able to pay on Visa. These people who walk away with your money saying, I'm going to withdraw. You say, no, you don't need to withdraw. You can send to this Momo number, and the money, I'll get it. Then someone says, but okay, now the truth is I don't have the money. So the point is that that's possible. Records. If a customer comes to you and it's the customer telling you how much they owe you, then you have a problem. It is you who is supposed to know how much the customer owes you. But the customer says, how much have you brought? 100. So is that what you have? I think that's what I have. That's no way to do business. So that is technology enabling business. All businesses need to appreciate technology. Now lastly, it is the response to good service. She talked about paying her employees on time or early. Now I can't emphasize how important it is You know, many people say that I haven't paid my employees because business is not doing well. That's a mistake, because the employees are not paid because business is doing well. Employees are paid because they have a contract with you that you pay them at the end of the month. If you tell your employees that you have to come 8 hours every day, and they come 8 hours every day, you have to treat every patient who comes. You treat every patient who comes. The fact that only 20 patients came instead of the 100 you expected is not the employee's problem. It is your problem as the entrepreneur. You are the one who makes the business work. Me, I have done my part, and I should receive my salary on time. Now, it is very important, and you see many people saying, I've spent 3 months without being paid. If you haven't paid your employees for 3 months, you are running a big risk. When the person starts walking away with drugs, it's not that they are thieves. They're just saying, I need to reimburse myself, and I will use this Panadol to reimburse myself. If they receive money from a customer and they don't declare it, they say, but yeah, she has my 2 million. I've only taken 200. I'm not a bad person. So the point is that if you are not paying on time, it is one of the most basic things.
That's right.
And indeed, sometimes business is challenging, and you can't be able to make that money. And if that is the case, then you have to inform your employees and make them understand, have them buy in that I will fulfill my commitments. But there is a point at which employees stop being able to do that, because they also have commitments at home. If you go back to your wife and every time you're saying, I'm working here, they're not paying me, but I continue going, your wife starts taking you unseriously after 3 months. Says, you man, either get a job which can pay you, or give up on this on this thing which we are doing. So the point is that this thing of paying on time is very, very critical, and also rewarding good performance. A person shouldn't get a salary raise because they have worked. They should be a system of evaluating the performance of that employee that allows that employee to be able to know that if I perform at this level or beyond this bare minimum, I will be rewarded with a salary increment. I'll be rewarded with a bonus. And that has to be fair and across. If I know that if I perform a cesarean section, I'll get a bonus every time I perform a cesarean section, it should happen every time. It shouldn't happen for some people, it doesn't happen for others. It should happen for everyone. So it's very important that your reward system is clear. But the flip side of the reward system is also your penalty system. That equally needs to be what? Clear. So if someone is not performing, how long do you keep them on your staff? Because that's the penalty system. You are rewarded if you do well. But if you don't perform and you consistently do it, then you should know that a point may reach and the business has to release you. And you could be the sister of the proprietor. But if you are not performing, the business needs to release you. So those processes are very key as we manage people in business.
I hear you. Beautiful. Now, Maureen, coming back to you, of course, I know business has its good side and challenging side as well. We've looked at the good and what you've been able, the boxes you've been able to tick up to today. But I know that has come with some sacrifices and also scaling, you know, certain challenges. What are some of the challenges that you've had to put up with to be where you are today? Or what are the challenges that you're dealing with today as a business person?
Yeah, the challenges.
And probably how do you deal with them?
How do we deal with them? We've had a challenge of sometimes, apart from my business partner, it's other doctors. They keep changing. They get better jobs. But I've already told the clients, because they say, how the doctor is here now, we can't see him, just in a year you've changed. But we're not going to keep people who are not performing well, who are not meeting the doctor's targets there. I've already told them to bear with that. Sometimes they will always change. But we've had people work there, like nurses. Recently we had one move out of the country. She was there for 6 years because she was doing what we wanted. But if they don't do what we want, sometimes we have no option. So sometimes it's a challenge because we always want the best to get what we want. So at one time, the clients have to bear. We do change them, but we've tried to keep them in all ways, like I had earlier told you. It's a challenge, but we deal it in that way by paying them at least the best we can and doing all those sacrifices I told you. I hear you.
So then there's always that, issue, especially with business people, the issue of family members.
Family members.
Yeah, and now here you are, you're not just a source of jobs.
Yeah.
But then you're also offering a service that everyone needs at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
Health. So how do you deal, with family member entitlement? It's my sister's clinic. Then you can send about, even has referrals. You go, you just mention my name. You get it.
As Good Life, I'm actually the only person who is not medical. It's me. And family members have not come in because the medical field is so sensitive. At Good Life, we have nurses. So if I don't have a relative who is a nurse, possibly me, I don't employ. So I've not had them. I've not had anyone who really fits because I've told you. If you're to work at Good Life, you have to fit our...
have what it
so
takes.
I've not gotten any relative. Actually, even when they come there, they pay their bills. My cousins usually come there, my uncles. But when they come, I serious myself, they pay their bills. They pay.
Yes.
So the family issue at Good Life is not there. Maybe what I'm looking at, actually, even for my very own kids, if none of them does medical, shows interest, I'm not ready to pass whether my 50% or anything. I'll employ the right people. That's it about the family. Because I'm really monitoring them to see who is interested, who is not. I have a boy and a girl. So there's nothing like this is a boy. The one who does well is the one who will come in. If they don't, then...
So you're looking
possibly I'll pass it to anyone, or I adopt someone who will pass it or something like that. But a family thinks, no.
Great.
Yeah.
Ronald?
Yeah, I was kind of. I think the point which Maureen makes about family. She makes 2 points. First of all, fit. They have to fit within the business. I hope as entrepreneurs who are listening to us and the prospective entrepreneurs who are listening, I hope you appreciate how powerful that statement is. Yeah. You have to fit. Yeah. It means that you first draw the role before you look for the employee. It means that you can't recruit someone because your cousin is at home and he has nothing to do. Say, I see you every time you are going to the clinic, why don't you take me with you? Then you bring the cousin to the clinic and say, okay, you just be there with us at the clinic. There has to be a clear role which someone is entering, which that person is entering. Be it a family member, be it not. So it means that the keyword there is fit. As a business, you need to say, who do I exactly need? If you are looking for a chef, you are looking for a chef who can do what? You are saying, I'm looking for a chef who can be able to bake, for example. That is the fit. Yes. When I'm looking for people who can bake. My son who baked one cake at home, if they fit in that role, I can be able to bring them into the business. But my other sister who doesn't like anything about baking, I can't bring them into the business because they don't fit. So it's important to answer the question of fit. The other bit is family as customers. Now, as family members, we sometimes get confused because I'm Maureen's brother. As Maureen's brother, when I come to the clinic, I don't understand how Maureen, who knows how tough, how hard the life of my family currently is. I lost a job. My wife has also not been working, and now my son is sick. I would have chosen to take them to another hospital, but I've brought them to Maureen's hospital. And Maureen should understand that I should get this service and I shouldn't pay. Then when Maureen says that pay, I actually get very surprised. I say, Maureen, you who knows that I have no job right now, you who we grew up with, and now you are forcing me to pay money. And it's an issue of health, sickness. And it's an issue of health. And this is your real niece. This is your niece, not even someone else. You have to what? It means that even when Maureen brings her children to the clinic, they come as customers. And they are customers, it means that they have to make sure they also meet the bill. And if they don't meet the bill against her salary, then that will be deducted off her salary at the end of the month. And that needs to be very clear. You need to appreciate that family members need to separate you from the business. If family members can't see you separate from the business, they will keep mixing the two up. And that can collapse your business. Because health is one of the things which comes when at the most unlikely times.
Yeah.
At night, the child gets a fever, you have no money in your pocket. You will always lean to where you can get a free service. And the point is that if I see Maureen's business as the business I can get a free service in, very soon she has a data book of people who are not going to pay, and most of them are family members. So that being clear in the minds of our family members, if Maureen wants to contribute to her nephew's health services, she should go to her pocket, pick 20,000, give it to the uncle or the brother, and say, you pay for my nephew. You get my point? That is Maureen being an auntie. That is Maureen being a sister. But Maureen shouldn't think that Good Life and Maureen are two separate entities.
That's right.
And Good Life is the one offering the service, and Good Life has no relatives. It has no brothers. Good Life is just a business. Maureen has relatives and brothers and sisters, and we need to separate the two. If you don't, the business can really struggle.
Beautiful. Now, going to the questions and comments of some of our viewers. Of course, I have Grace Masco here. Is the chairman of the Private Security Providers Association. He's saying, and I must say, Grace is a former colleague of mine at New Vision, but he has gone into private business. He's appreciating the show. It's quite informative, especially the area we are tackling related to service provision. But I have someone who is asking, how is the profitability of the business, and have you considered partnering with insurance institutions like AAR and the others?
Okay. The insurance part of it is still a challenge because we've handed in like applications and they've not allowed. They keep telling us, so many people on the line, who are you? And then when you start telling them, it's Maureen, they can't believe that you have all those services, that people come in with cards. You start explaining to them. They tend to look at these big hospitals, and you know the fact that you've grown so small, they don't so much consider you. They look at these,
the bigger boys.
The us who have grown from scratch, they tend to ignore, because we've put like applications too, though we have this case Medicare. The patients are not so many. I think they should also put us on the line so that we can get the clients who are from Nigeria. We've tried to say, the doctor has tried to lobby that. Yeah, we have it. We have one, but this you maybe like you know things, Ugandan things. Connection. Whom do you know there? It's also an issue.
I hear you. I hear you.
You can't just come, Maureen, I'm from Nigeria, I want insurance. I put my applications and some are still there.
I hear you.
So I think I've answered him.
You have profitability of the business.
The profitability. Yeah, we make a lot of profit because now, if you're able to shift from our premises, we used to pay like we used to pay 1 million. Now we pay 2.5 for rent. That means we are making the money.
You're progressing. And
yeah, we are.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Now I have someone is saying thank you so much for the show, and this comes to you, Ronald. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are not able to be in business full time? Probably they have an 8 to 5 and then want to be in the job, or rather in the business world as well.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question, and that is a very, we have had the conversation about the side hustle,
yes,
which is synonymous with almost everyone who is employed. There is always a side hustle. But I think if we could pick from Maureen's experience and look at the doctor partner,
yes,
who has a full-time job,
yes,
from Monday to Friday.
From Monday to Friday, but is also running a successful medical facility in partnership. Now, I think that that's one thing which needs to be considered. The most basic partnership would be with you and your spouse. That's the most basic. My spouse is running the business full-time. I come in at over the weekend or in the evenings. So that would be the most basic. But these partnerships can be through friendships, through networks. That needs to work. But I go back to what we talked about when we talk about the partnership. We need to make sure that we institutionalize those partnerships. If you're running a hardware store, for example, and you have a young man who sells at that hardware store, and you're saying that I feel like he would do more if he had a stake in the business, then sit down with him and say, you know what, I have an offer for you. I want to give you 20% of this business. You don't have to, your investment is going to make sure, it will be measured by the sweat equity, the sales targets that you will meet. But if you meet these sales targets, on the profit which we make beyond your salary, we'll be able to share. And when you have agreed, then make sure that you are meeting your side of the coin as they meet their side of the coin. Making partnerships, at Enterprise Uganda, we have a whole session on how to make partnerships work. It's one of the most complex business relationships because usually partnerships are better before money comes. But when money starts coming, people start saying,
all hell breaks loose.
Really, you are taking all that much, you has just been seated here.
Yes.
So that needs to be documented and done. I think the second thing on being an absentee manager of the business, you need to ask yourself effectively how much time can you dedicate to your business. And usually the question is, where are you taking that time from? For most people who run farms, for example, the time has to be taken from their families. It means that the person on Saturday morning at 6, instead of spending time with the children, has hit the road to go to the farm. So the question is that a sacrifice you need to make? Because if they tell you that a cow delivered on Monday, that weekend you need to be there because that calf may die next week and you don't know whether it died or it was sold. But the question is, at least you need to see that calf. So the point is that there is a sacrifice, a price which
or eat skin if they tell you it died.
Yes. Are you sure? So the point is that you have to put in that, and I think people don't appreciate how heavy that sacrifice is. For people who say, I finish my job at 5 and then I go to my restaurant until 9 or 10. It is a tough job. It's a tough job, and for a period in your life, 2-3 years, it is going to be, you are not doing social gatherings, your family calls you for a baby shower, you say I'm not available. It is going to be that because you are at your salon. So the point is that if that doesn't happen, many times being an absentee, I don't think there is a simple way of being an absentee business owner. Many people will tell you that the presence of the entrepreneur, it's like when a child is born, the presence of the mother or the parents during those first 2 years is very important. You can't delegate breastfeeding in the first 2 weeks of birth. And the same is true with business. There are things which you need, there is a sacrifice which you need to pay. Now if you can do it through partnership, even then you are still going to be like Maureen's partner, who at least over the weekends says, I will be there. They may not even be working in Kampala, but they have to come and sit there and make sure that business works.
Thank you, Ronald. Now, we have someone joining us all the way from the US. He's saying, thanks for the show. How were the achievements of Good Life paid for? Were all those improvements from profits of the business? In other words, do you have a loan in between, or it's all organic growth?
It's all organic growth. We've grown small. We've used one item to get another one. Over those 12 years, we've not had loans and we've not used. Actually, what we do for us, we don't get loans. What we do, like if you want, like at a time, there's a time when we were setting our dent and we didn't have enough money. So what we had to do, we talk to those. You know, one of the things I forgot to tell is respecting the suppliers. You know, when these people supply you for long and you're so trustworthy. They always provide, sometimes they call me, do you need this machine now? We want to come set a theatre at Good Life. But you first wait, because you're still setting something. So what we do for us, instead of taking loans, how do you call it?
Supplier credit. Supplier credit.
They come, like now the scan, they came set the scan. We first made money from the scan department. We went to the dental. We paid, I remember we paid half the money. Then every month you deposit like 1M till like a whole year. You finish the dental. But as you work, you're paying. So we don't have loans at Good Life. There is no...
I think Kelsey, it's such a powerful message on supplier credit and its power, especially in businesses where the equipments are very expensive. A dental set is a very expensive equipment. And very few, I mean, the natural option would be, you'd say, let me go and borrow it. But as she has said, developing a relationship with the supplier is critical over a long period. That means you first get a small machine, then a bigger machine. By the time they're giving you a dental unit, you have walked through 3 or 4 machines where they have seen your behavior. But also to make sure that you are trustworthy when the machine is given to you, because the supplier is choosing, should I keep this machine in the store until 4 months from now when Maureen has money, or should I give it to them? They make some money with it, they pay me some and they make some profit.
And it saves you a journey to the bank.
Exactly.
Plus
now you're benefiting, he's also benefiting.
The interest that comes with it.
Exactly.
Anyway, I have Emmanuel from Tororo. Is AO Emmanuel. Is touched about this service business or industry, and he's saying, I'm getting you live and clear. How can you advise me who wants to invest in a service providing entity, but I'm not trained in that field? He's saying he's a social worker. What kind of advice would you give such a person? I think I'll start with Maureen, because Maureen is not a medic as well.
You know, gone are the days when like people will tell you, if you have to start a law firm, you have to be a lawyer. No, you just employ lawyers, you get those ones that are very skilled, like for my case, like how I did partnership, and then you move.
I hear you. Beautiful.
Yeah. I think what I would add to that, and Maureen has put it very well, it is, you have to ask yourself, what do you bring to the table?
Exactly.
What do you bring to the table? There are people who, I mean, in Maureen's case, she's not a doctor, but she brings organizational skills to the table. She can organize, she can run the finances. That's her contribution to the table. She brought that ownership of the business to the table, puts it on the table. So if you are entering the service business, you need to ask yourself, what am I going to bring to the table? And then you look at what is not on the table and say, this is what I need. Exactly. I mean, for the case of Good Life, they needed a doctor in this ownership structure, so that because that medical bit wasn't on the table, yet this is a medical facility. So you say, let us bring that. Now, if you know what you need, then you say, who is the right person who I'm looking for? Because first of all, you need to start from what you need. Many times people start businesses by, you know what, we are friends, let us start. Because you have been my friend for 10 years. It's a good thing. You possibly trust them. But what are they bringing on the table? Some people bring just money. Then they bring capital. They say, there is 100 million, go out and start. That bit which you bring to the table is very important. So
not just a good heart.
Not just I mean, even a good heart is important at some point. But you need to make sure that has been catalogued. That is what I have, what I've actually brought to the table. I think that the final bit which I'll say about this is that when we think about services, we need to understand that the real asset of the service is very different from like the manufacturing industry. The manufacturing industry, if you are running a maize mill, they will tell you, buy a maize mill of $50,000. That maize mill of $50,000 is the asset. It is. But when you're starting a service business, the asset is actually those intangible things. It is the customer service. It is the skill set. If you are starting a hotel, for example, the fact that someone is going to eat a meal which is consistently tasting the same, it is what the chef brings on the table.
And served with a smile.
And served with a smile. And the smile is the same smile. When this person is angry, when they're not, the smile is consistent. That is what they bring. Now, measuring the assets of the service industry is one of the most complex things. Because people say, no, I want to start a restaurant. There is a room. I'm going to rent it. We start. But they haven't measured the real asset.
Thank you, Ronald. I still have a couple of questions. I want us to touch them before we wrap this up. Richard is saying, thanks for the show. I'm a lab technologist. I want to start a lab, but my biggest challenge is space and equipment. Actually, I'm just impressed with the partnership bit of Maureen. I think I could use the same to get the machines. And I think the message is now coming out quite clearly that you can actually have these partnerships coming through. And filling in some of the gaps. But maybe as we move forward, as we move closer to this, what is the future like for Good Life? In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, we are looking at having our own premises for Good Life. because recently, last month, the guy came and increased rent 500,000 from nowhere. So we are looking at having our own premises, because now it's a health center, and then we are looking at Good Life Hospital with its fully equipped pharmacy, apart from the inside pharmacy of Good Life. And then, yeah.
Okay. Now, Ronald, I have someone here. He's saying, I've developed a wine business during lockdown, and I now sell to my online customers. How does Enterprise Uganda help me to expand it? When are the trainings? Then he's saying, what I've learned from Maureen is that I should look for a technical partner to run this business, because for me, I learned everything from the internet.
No, I think he makes a very good point about the way the knowledge gap has been flattened. I mean, if he has successfully started a wine business from the internet, it is a sign that actually the internet can teach you and you get a product onto the market. Yes. And I think for me it's a big success, and we need to congratulate you for that. Yes. It is a great use of the power of the internet, that you can learn a new skill and be able to implement it. On the trainings, we have physical and virtual trainings. I will request that they share their contact with you. We can get you into that database and then share with you. You can visit our offices on plot 38 Lumumba Avenue. You can visit our website. There is a WhatsApp number on the website where you can kind of, we can start a conversation and chat. Yes. We also more and more, what I usually tell entrepreneurs is that use the opportunity to use ecosystem partners. Enterprise Uganda is just one of the ecosystem partners, but there are many organizations which are supporting entrepreneurship in one way or another. There is PSFU, there is CASITA, there is Federation for SMEs. There are so many organizations which are supporting, and they are real ecosystem partners who are out there trying to help the entrepreneur. Now, as an entrepreneur who is into the wine business, you should take interest in, for example, the Uganda Small Scales Industries Association. Why? Because they can be a partner who help you in that area. That's one of the things. We are part of a broader ecosystem, and we would be very glad to host you and also to network you with other partners in the space who are doing this work and trying to push the agenda. And the thing is that there is no the journey of the person you work with is not really a destination. It is more like something which you continuously need to do. So when you think about something like winemaking, the Standards Bureau is a very important partner. Yes. And then you will talk about URI, the Uganda Industrial Research Institute. All those are very strong partners. So you, at a business level, you need to make sure you get into these spaces. We'll be very glad to host you, and we'll certainly also network you with some of these spaces so that the business can be able to grow.
Beautiful. Maureen, I have many people here who have sent in appreciation message for your service. Some are in Nigeria area. I couldn't read all of them because they're quite a number. But what would be your last word as we conclude this discussion, especially to the entrepreneurs who are out there watching us and those in your area of health?
My last word is those...
And probably also sharing your contact.
The entrepreneurs who are already doing business, it's just one word: listen to the customers. They're saying something. To the suppliers, to the customers, to the suppliers, to the staff. Very important. The staff, because they're the ones delivering the service. And then you also listen to God. God also blesses us. And at the end of it all, if we work hard, we also need favor from God, and also we need to listen to the bankers. Just like Mr. Ochichi puts it, because the bankers, me I save every day. A business that doesn't save is not a business. Then loans where you can, where you feel like you need it, but if you can't, loans leave out. But if you really need it and it can push you, you can with the bankers. You're supposed to be paying them, like, well, banking, basically those 5, and then being consistent, working hard, teamwork, being innovative. We've talked about quite a lot of issues. Then excellency, skills, all that. And then the people of Nigeria, I love you so much. I know they're listening, especially the stuff at Good Life. My number.
How they can reach Good Life, generally?
Good Life, yeah, people can. That's people of Nigeria, Buate, Chira, Kungu, yeah. Good Life, I've told you, it's just in Nigeria, Nigeria too, in between Lavent Bar and Tosha petrol station. You'll just get our signpost there. And my number is, you always get me at the reception, as I've told you. When I leave studio, I'm a different person. I'm a receptionist. I listen to all your views. If you don't have money, you want a debt plan, you want a family file, you can deposit something like 100, such that even when you don't have the money, you can always come. Because we've had family people like those ones we've known for long, because we've operated for like 12 years. People have files, they deposit. Even when you don't have money, people can always come in. My number is 0785 50 7197.
Beautiful. Ronald, how do you wrap this up?
Yeah, I think just to say thank you to Maureen for sharing her story. As you said at the beginning, it's the entrepreneur's story that is at the heart of Business X-Ray. So thank you for doing business, continue fighting. For all the people who are watching us, the journey of growing a business is a complex one. It's a journey where you need partners who work with you. As Enterprise Uganda, we have had the privilege for the last 20 years to partner with many people like Maureen as they grow their businesses. They do the hardest work. Our job is to learn lessons and be able to share those lessons with others. So keep pushing your business. If you want to start, please do reach us. Our website is www.enterpriseuganda.co.ug. You can also, on that website, you'll be able to get our WhatsApp number and you can be able to reach us. Please look out for a partnership where you can be able to grow your business within your district, within your city. Find a way of engaging, and nowadays we are online, so get into a WhatsApp group where business is discussed constantly, not a WhatsApp group which discusses everything else apart from. So I mean, just get into a network which can encourage you to be able to grow your business. We want to thank you for joining us. It's been an honor, and we're very glad that we can be able to grow businesses together. Thank
you, Ronald. Thank you very much. And thank you, Maureen. Viewers, that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the Business X-Ray. Until next time, have a good evening and God bless.